Greetings everyone, and welcome back to the shed of endless possibilities. To all the family members and subscribers, as always, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you all, and please keep those comments coming. Right, it's a while since I've done any poems from my collection, so I thought it was time to do some more. The first one is from my book called Reflection Selection, and that's all about me on the back, should anybody be interested. And this poem is called The Old Dark House. I had often walked past the old dark house, always stopping to stand and stare. Then one day a gentleman with a kindly face beckoned me to the old stone stairs. On his lips was gentle kindness, his dark eyes were shining bright. Ornate hinges creaked as he opened the front door. A smell of centuries past wafted through the air. Worn yet polished floorboards could be seen across the floor. A beautifully ornate tiled floor with the vestibule. Beautiful plaster frieze on walls, doors with stained glass. I slowly walked up to the gentleman standing there. There was an icy cold atmosphere as he let me past. A tasseled rug was in front of a great fire hearth, newly chopped logs in a basket by the fireside. The companion set with poker, shovel and tongs. Decorative brass fender stretched out wide. The gentleman sat down in a studded leather chair. Antimacassar cover on the chair back hanging down. Although I could hear him talking, his lips never moved. Suddenly, a lady appeared, and his smile turned to a frown. The lady seemed to float as she moved across the floor. I swear at one point she walked through a door. The gentleman smiled at her and gave her a knowing stare. That is when she took my arm and led me to the stairs. I followed close behind her until we reached the top. She stopped on the first landing just waiting for me. She floated past rooms on corridors. She stopped at number 3. Gently whispering, she said, "There is something you must see." She took me by the hand, leading me to her bedchamber, saying softly, "Please, come and take a look." Then from an ancient casket beneath her bed, she brought out an old leather book. Its pages were all foxed and quite dusty. Its ghostly secrets were there to give, wonderful secrets, centuries of knowledge from spirit, from so many who have died, yet still live. I lifted my head from its dusty pages. The floating lady was no longer there. I walked back down the long corridor. Slowly, I made my way back down the stair. When I reached the bottom, the gentleman smiled. I blinked my eyes, and he was no longer there. The studded chair was rotting and threadbare. Dust and cobwebs were covering everywhere. I walked across to the fireplace and pondered. Clearly for centuries no one had lived there. All they had shown me was gone in an instant. I wondered just who were that ghostly pair. I walked towards the ornate oak door, hinges creaking as I opened it wide. I quickly walked down the steps to the garden, and there was some purpose in my stride. I often sit and think about that ghostly couple, and I thank them for the knowledge shared with me. The fact that I know long after death I will be alive and will continue to be. That's that one, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. And the next one is Two Golden Rings, and this is from my book, A Heterogeneous Collection, Eclectic Works. And this one is called Two Gold Rings. There is a haunted lighthouse on the rocks of Llanddwyn Bay. Ghosts of lovers who died there. That's what the locals say. They had fallen from the balcony, high above the rocks and sea, their bodies broken by the waves. Their souls were now set free. Many who visit the lighthouse catch a glimpse of them as they fall, or hear the ghostly screams which rattle round the walls. Two ghostly figures floating by, hovering upon the stair, wanting people to see them, hoping to give them a scare. They have frightened so many people, so much that they've run away. If they like you, they will seek your help by that lighthouse at Llanddwyn Bay, leading people across the rocks to the place where they fell, as the lighthouse keeps on flashing, and in the distance a tolling bell. They walk the rocks beneath the light, where they were dashed to death that day. That terrible and fateful night was the 17th of May. The couple were so much in love, were taken one night in a gale. Sometimes when you are close by, you can hear a terrible wail, a scream that is like no other. It will fill your heart with fright, as the ghosts of the centuries past stand there before you tonight. An icy wind blows through you, a ghostly hand touches your hair. You then hear a ghostly voice whisper, "You must go over there." A ghostly finger is pointing, it is showing you where to go. You are afraid, but you begin to wonder just what they have to show. The ghosts lead you to a rock pool, where you'll find two golden rings, one engraved with "I'm yours forever," engraved on the other, "You're my everything." Placing the rings on their ghostly fingers as they hold each other tight, they both turn and smile at you, and then they disappear into the night. So if you ever find yourself at Llanddwyn Bay, which is a beautiful place, you may see them. Right, another two silly ones now. And this is from my book, A Vampire Journal, the Ordo Strigoi Vii. And the first one is called Draculazy. There was once a bone-idle vampire. Draculazy was his name. He would spend every day in his coffin, and at night time he did the same. Draculazy simply cannot be bothered. He cares not whether he eats or not. He just doesn't want to do anything but lay in his coffin where it's hot. Draculazy has lived like this for centuries, wasting almost every single night. He let his last victim go free because he couldn't be bothered to bite. He's really such a lazy vampire, and he must be a very odd sight for those who catch a glimpse of him all snugged up in his coffin at night. He really is a bone-idle creature. The dust in his castle stands high. If anyone asks, why don't you clean up, he says, I can't see the reason why. If you happen to come across Draculazy, just run away. It's the best thing to do. Because there's one thing you can be sure of. He can't be bothered running after you. And the last one for today's session of poems is called Vincent. I was walking in a graveyard. It was very late at night. Something stirred inside a grave. It gave me such a fright. From within the darkness emerged a figure. I could feel myself start to shake. Do not be alarmed, it spoke. Was I dreaming, or was I awake? Nervously I asked, who are you? What is your purpose in here? He said, I'm Vincent, the vegan vampire. You have no need to fear. He began to tell me his story. Please let everyone you know hear that I am strictly a vegan vampire, and the sight of blood I fear. So here stood this vegan vampire. To his own kind he was no use. He was terrified at the thought of blood, but he loved tomato juice. He spends the time in the greenhouse, usually in the dead of night, lurking between the tomato plants, looking for something to bite. And that's it, folks. And as always, these books are all available on Amazon. If anyone's interested, I believe they're about £9.99 on Amazon. But if you get them direct from me, they're £5. Completely up to you. You don't have to buy them. I just hope that you enjoy what you've heard. And if you have, please hit that like button, leave a comment in the box below, hit that bell icon for any future uploads, and if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Won't cost you a penny. Helps the channel grow, and we become part of that bigger community. So as always, I will say Namaste. Enjoy the rest of Monday, everyone. Bye for now.